It is each student for themselves. Financial struggles, mental struggles, emotional struggles, there's a lot going on. Job, friends, money, PR, parents, relationship, friendship, it just all becomes too much. Sometimes you just want to give up. Alright, hello, welcome back to another video on this channel. Firstly, I just wanted to say a big thank you to everybody who has joined along this journey in the past 3 to 4 months. The numbers have been increasing, views have been increasing, subscribers have been increasing, and it's a really big motivation for me to keep going, keep making such content that provides and adds value to your international student journey. For those of you who are new, my name is Anshul Sethi, and I've been in Australia for the past 3.5 years. So finished my bachelor's at the end of 2023, and now working full time in my occupation, which is marketing. And I'm on the same journey as you are. You either are or will be at some point of time. This video is about the dark reality of studying in Australia. Australia is known for its culture, its climate, work-life balance, the weather, the sporting lifestyle, and a lot of other things. But behind the scenes, there's a lot that is going on. International students, migrants have to lead a life which is full of responsibilities, accountabilities, hard work, smart work, whether that is building connections, building a network from scratch, looking for jobs in a country that they don't know of, learning a new country, and a whole lot else. Watch this video till the end because I cover a lot of facts, some positives, some negatives, some learnings that I've gotten in this 3.5 years. So stick around. Alright, the first thing that we'll talk about is loneliness. Now, a lot of you, if you go on Reddit, if you go on Quora, firstly, you'll see my name come up sometimes. But secondly, what you'll see is established couples, established people who are in Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, Perth, wherever, earning more than 100K a year, but going back to India because they miss their friends, they miss their family, they miss that community lifestyle. Here in Australia, it's very individualistic. It's each person for themselves. It's each student for themselves. You have to build everything from scratch, and you don't feel really you don't feel that community feeling that you used to back in your home country, especially where I come from, especially if people are watching from India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, Pakistan, wherever, South Asia in general. You don't get that community feeling, you don't get that lifestyle here. If I talk about us international students, us migrants, from where we come from, especially from where I come from, we knew who our neighbors were. We had different friend groups, different family friends, different, colony friends, different school friends, different college friends. So you really lack those sort of good friendships because here the lifestyle is very simple. You work throughout the week, weekdays, come back home, chill with your immediate family. Not a lot of, catching up or not a lot of other friendships per se. All the friendships that there are from their own school, their own childhood, and it's a little hard for some people to break through. For me, on the other hand, it's been okayish. I've been able to make local friends through different hobbies that I have, be that cricket, be that running, be that my work. But a lot of international students and migrants do find it hard to break into those friend groups and make those sort of friends. So yeah, that's a bit about loneliness, where life becomes monotonous. It's one thing after the other. It's, first it's a part-time job, then it's finishing your degree, then it's a full-time job, then it's PR, then it's a house, then it's love, then it's marriage, then, it's one goal after the other. And, it's a fact that you have to work double hard because you're in a country that you really don't know anything about. That's why a lot of people feel that it's a little more lonely, a little more monotonous. And a lot of people fly back or move back home because of that. Number 2, finances, mate. Living, studying, working in Australia and existing in Australia is expensive. First of all, tuition fees is expensive. We are most probably paying five times or seven times or 10 times the amount a local Australian would have had to for the same degree. So tuition fees are really high. Recently, there was a report that student visa fees might jump up to $2,000 from $1,600, and Australia, anyways, has the highest amount. Has the highest amount that anybody has to pay for a student visa. So and generally as well, cost of living is high. Groceries, I've made multiple cost of living videos where I've talked about how cost of living differs from city to city and how expensive that is. Especially if you talk about Sydney, Melbourne, you have to have a really good job and have to have a partner with a really good job to even afford a house. And even if you afford even if you can afford a house, you're looking at commuting 45 minutes to an hour one way to work if you have to go to work in the city. So yeah, it is hard, man. As international students, as migrants, people come from different backgrounds. People come from different situations. Some have a lot of pressure on them. Some don't have a lot of pressure on them. But they're at that age where they do not want to ask for money from parents. So they feel that they need to be independent enough to earn, independent enough to pay their own university fee, which becomes really hard. You'll see a certain section of international students slog the whole degree years that they have with part time jobs just to save as much as they can and be very miser. Act very miserly, if that's a word. Act very miserly when it actually comes to spending on themselves, spending on their friends, or just generally going out. So it becomes really, really hard. On top of that, the increased visa fees, the increased cost of living, inflation, investing, saving, paying off your student loan, it just gets a lot and gets really overwhelming sometimes because all those responsibilities do come on that student because somewhere at the back of our mind it's that, oh, our parents have invested X amount in our education, so we have to become successful. Number three, you are away from your family. Listen to that again. You are away from your family. When you make that decision to study abroad, be that Australia, Canada, UK, wherever, you make the decision that you're going to be away from your family either most of your life, or if you plan to get your parents here, then at least for the next 5 7 years you're going to be away from your family, living alone. They're going to be living alone as well, and they're going to both parties are going to run into different set of problems. Maybe your parents are old and they're aging. They might run into different health problems, different financial problems. Maybe they're not able to keep up. Maybe they're not able to keep up at work. So then the financial responsibility also falls upon yourself. And anyways, you're a migrant, you're a student in a different country altogether. You will run into multiple problems, have to solve them on your own because you don't have any backing. You don't have parents to fall back on. You only have your set of friends that you make to fall back on. So it can become really, really hard at different points of time. So just know that when you're making that decision of studying abroad, you're making the decision of being away from your family, away from your parents, away from your friends, away, maybe even away from your partner, away from your siblings. And you're making that decision for a considerable amount of time, not just a year, 2 year, 3 year, most probably 6 7 years until you can get either of the parties, your partner, your parent, your sibling, whoever, to Australia, or they come to Australia or they come to that country on their own. So that is something that a lot of people take very lightly. They feel that it's going to be a cakewalk, but I've made a video on how you can get your parents here and how much it will actually cost you to get your parents here. So that is just something that you should keep in mind while making the decision and while you're here. Number four is cultural adjustment, right? As whichever country you're coming from, when you come to Australia, it's a whole new country, new culture, not a lot of traditions, like not a lot of local traditions, but you will know when you see an Aussie the type of characteristics they have, the type of words they use, the type of slang they use. um, you can identify that, oh, that's a local Australian. So learning all of that, accepting all of that, it's a big cultural shift. On top of that, the repo that international students, migrants, and all in all, in general, immigration gets nowadays is really bad. As you may have seen in the news, that a lot of international students, communities, migrants, immigration in general is being used as a scapegoat for the housing crisis. And honestly, yes, a lot of migrants were allowed to come in post COVID, but it's, I think it's the government's responsibilities to handle that. We are not at fault. We are not coming in forcefully. We apply. That particular application is approved via student visa, and that is only when we come in. And generally as well, you need to work double hard when it comes to even getting a part-time job, full-time job, making friends, making a local network, making connections, and all in all, just being successful in whatever you're doing, be that job search, getting a house, making friends, local friends, anything and everything. So it does become hard. It does get on your nerves, and it's a big responsibility. All you do all of that while learning a new country, trying to make local friends and adjusting to their culture, while also representing your own tradition, your own religion, your own culture. So it does become a little hectic. It does become hard at times, but it's a balance that we have to find. And we have to know that this is something that we're accepting. This is something that we're happy to do for the rest of our lives if we choose to spend the rest of our lives in this country. That is something you should consider as well. Like for example, nowadays when there's Diwali, when there's anything, and we wear our cultural and traditional clothes, we know that Indians have been existing here for the past 30 years. So Australians have, gotten to know what these sort of traditional wear are, what a shadi is, what a wedding is, what an Indian wedding looks like. And they are really, really mesmerized when we tell them about our culture, when we tell them about our religion. So there's 100% Aussies on board, but we need to know that we need to represent ourselves in a manner which is always positive, and create that positive repo about Indians, because each and every Indian is representing the whole country, the whole community. Last but not the least, number five, sometimes you forget to enjoy life. You know how, we, when in our childhood, we used to go to our friends' place, to our neighbors' place, and just spend the whole evening, spend the whole night there, spend the whole afternoon there playing board games, going on day trips, going on gadi, as we used to say, going on drives, going to, to cricket coaching, to do whatever we want. We wouldn't think twice and we would just go. 100% it's a part of adulting, where if I was back in India, I wouldn't be doing all of this on a daily basis, but I know that I have my friends to fall back on. During when weekend hits, I have the ability to go and show up unannounced at a friend's place and just spend the evening there. Yes, we would be doing different things. We would be playing board games. We would be doing different things. We would be doing adult things. But what I'm trying to say is that that community feeling, that friend feeling, that feeling of, you have people around you who are only and only wanting good for you, is somewhere or the other missing, because here in Australia, everything is very competitive. And honestly, we make it competitive for ourselves by comparing ourselves to others, and it might also be the case that others are comparing themselves to us. So yeah, it becomes very competitive. It's one goal after the other. As I said, it's part-time job, full-time job, graduation, PR, money, earning, how much, what is your package, starting a business, getting a PR, getting your parents here. So it's just one thing after the other, a lot of responsibilities. And this is something, why I'm making this video is because you should know, before signing up, you should know all of these things. Because if you want to make it in a country outside your home country, like Australia, in this example, you need to know what you're signing up for. But I would like to end this video with just saying, if you're an international student or are going to be potentially an international student, just know that you're not alone. Everybody is going through the same things. That is why I'm trying to build this sort of a community where people know what they're signing up for. I support them, um, you know, achieve all of those goals, all of those things that come in the quote unquote international student journey. And how do I support them is by adding value through my own experiences, through talking about my own experiences and how I'm going through different things. Also know that there are a lot of support services on offer. My top tips are, and I've written them on my laptop, is first seek financial advice. At every point of the journey, be that from the start looking at what scholarships you're eligible for, to then when you start earning your first Australian dollar, how to save that, then how to invest, then how to buy a house. So there's support at each point of your journey. If you need help at any point of the journey, let me know. I can send you resources. Second, build a support network. There are a lot of organizations, there are a lot of students themselves who started different event companies, different community groups, different student societies that help you throughout your student journey. Third, prioritizing mental health. Go to a counselor, go for therapy, if you want to, or just talk it out with your friends, because talking it out, facing these sort of issues is the best thing that you can do, and tackling them head on is the best thing you can do. Managing your time, know your priorities, know yourself, know what you need to get done by what time, be that by 23 I want to get this, by 25 I want to get this. Know your priorities, because you'll meet a lot of people who have different priorities in life, so don't get swayed away. Last but not the least, embrace the culture. It's a very laid back culture. It's not everybody likes the culture. It's a culture that is not made for everyone, but you won't know if it is made for you until you dip your toe in and see whether it is for you or not. So embrace the culture. If you like the video, like it, share it with a friend who's also considering to come study abroad in Australia or wherever, and I'll see you in the next one.